What's good? What's happening, everybody? I appreciate you checking in. My guy, Severe. We're here. We're less than 24 hours from kickoff starting the 2024 season. How you feeling, man? How you feeling about it so far?
Oh man, I'm excited, man. I'm excited. It's been a very long off season. There's a lot of changes from the team from last year. Obviously, new head coach, new GM, new quarterback, knew a lot of stuff. New offensive coordinator. So a lot of changes, man. Interested to see what this thing looks like, man. We've seen all the ingredients. We've seen them, do all the shopping. Now it's time to, get a taste of this dinner.
And a lot of things, a lot of changes, a lot of things to, kind of be excited for. But then we also got some bitter news yesterday, and we're going to cover that as well. But, one of the things that I want to touch on first is, and it's kind of surprising, and we're going to kind of jump right into it, is no player extensions going into the start of the season. There was so much talk about certain players that we would possibly extend because we have basically, I don't know what the exact number is right now, but it's anywhere between the sixth or seventh most salary cap space in the league as it stands right now. And not a single player extension. And the reason why you extend players before the season starts because you have a chance at getting them at a little bit of a discount, right? A lot of people were talking about Malcolm Kuntz, and again, we'll talk about Malcolm in just a second. But you got guys like Robert Spillane, Nate Hobbs, Trayvon Merrick, like those guys. You might want to try to attempt to extend them before the season starts, but not a single move. So my question to you is, are you shocked a little bit that we didn't try to extend anybody? Would you have preferred us to try to extend somebody? Kind of, what are your thoughts on that, knowing that we got less than 24 hours before kickoff?
Yeah, me personally, I've been, beating the drum for a long time, banging the table for them to lock up Malcolm Kuntz, right? I just what he did over the last 9 games where AP was the head coach. I think he showed that he can be one of the better defensive ends in the league. Even looking at the advanced statistics, right? I want to say he was top 10 in terms of pressure rate. I want to say he was top 10 in pressures as well. It might have been top 10 in sacks over that stretch as well. So he put on just a master class, as a pass rusher. And I assumed we would do more to lock him up. Now, I don't know what's going on behind the scenes. I'm sure him and his representation are looking at next year's or this upcoming free agent class and looking at some of the defensive ends that are going to be there and saying, you know what, we can probably get a whole lot of money for you or the whole lot more on the open market than we can if we take an early deal. I was assuming we'll do a Darren Waller, that first contract. When we got Darren Waller, kind of overpaid him, but Darren Waller came out and showed he was a top 5 tight end, and then that it looked like a bargain. And it wasn't until that he signed that second contract where it was a little bit of a, hey, kind of overpaid.
No, I'm with you, and that's the part about kind of trying to get, re-sign some of your own guys before the season starts. You want to try to give them the discount. And that was what was tough, because one of the things that Tom Telesco said before the season started was that he wanted to kind of stay committed to the guys in the locker room. Right. And so we kind of expected that we might see a little bit of a contract extension, maybe him reaching out to some of these players and out of the four, right? Obviously, again, chat, we'll touch on Malcolm Kuntz in a second, but out of the four, do you think let's put Malcolm Kuntz aside because of what's gone on in the last 24 hours, but you have the other names like Trayvon Merrick, Robert Spillane, and Nate Hobbs. Out of those three, which one would you potentially reach out to extend at some point, hopefully maybe earlier in this season, so we can potentially get them at a discount before they, we're all crossed our fingers, they all pop off and ball out. But out of those three, which one would you target?
So if you're talking about me personally, I have a high affinity for Nate Hobbs. Just him as a player, what he brings to the team, his attitude. I know him and Max are very close. And I think that he is, one of the best at his particular position. With him, you have the health considerations. Who I think the
Yeah.
Raiders would probably look at to lock up. I want to say I'm probably go with Trevon Merrick. It's hard between him and Spillane. But linebacker and safety are both devalued positions nowadays.
Yep.
But I think that Trevon Merrick, he's first of all, he's younger. And I think he offers a little bit more versatility than Robert Spillane. Even though Robert Spillane has improved his pass rushing shop, especially under the tutelage of Antonio Pierce. But I just think just Trevon Merrick being that young and being you use a second round draft pick on him, even though it wasn't this regime. I just think that that'd be the guy that they would probably target.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. And before I'm gonna give you my take on it as well, but before we get into it, hey, salute to the chat, everybody. I appreciate you rolling through Raider Nation. I'm gonna go back through and put you guys up. Raider Nation, I appreciate you coming through. JB, what's good, man? I appreciate you rolling up. Raider Mike Sacktown, what is going on, man? Let's go, Jeremy Allen. What's good? And Larry Fleming, I appreciate you. Again, guys, make sure you go over to wherever you're watching from. Go over to the channels. Make sure you hit that like button. Go to Severe's page. Make sure that you're, subscribed to him as well. Always throwing out fire content for the Raider Nation. And then chat, let us know. Out of those three we just talked about, because we're going to talk about Malcolm Kuntz in a second, but out of those three, Nate Hobbs, Trayvon Merrick, and Robert Spillane, which one would you want to extend, before this season really does kick off, if we did extend somebody earlier in the start of the season? Look, I think I'm right there with you, because I've said it before, and I'll say it again. One of the hardest things to find in the draft and even through free agency is the nickel corner position. It's one of the hardest positions on the football field to play. And when you find a good one, I understand there are some injury concerns here and there. Injuries tend to pop up with him a little bit, but that means you could possibly get him maybe at a little bit of a discount, even more. And again, he's not considered a number one corner, so you might be able to get him for a little bit cheaper. And then behind him, I agree with you, Trayvon Merrick. He proved last year. It's his third year in Patrick Graham's system. He thrived last year. Again, would like to maybe get him at a discount if we can lock him up earlier in this season. Again, we didn't extend anybody prior to the start of the season. But as much as I love Robert Spillane, as much as he can be looked at as another heartbeat of this defense, he's also, are you really going to extend him for 2, maybe 3 years? And now he's well into his 30s. And to your point, the linebacker position, as I looked at the running back position, you can get a solid linebacker halfway through the first round, maybe even the later end of the first round.
Maybe in the fifth round.
Exactly. Maybe even an undrafted free agent, and so, but at the end of the day, I think that with the linebacker position, you can get one later in the first round of the draft, second round, and still get a solid linebacker. And so, and plus, you got to be very strategic on what type of linebacker you get, because it's always based on your system, And so, yeah, I'm with you, Nate Hobbs. I'd love to see us extend Nate Hobbs earlier in the season. Trayvon Merrick, I think, would be next up, and unfortunately, that leaves Robert Spillane off. As much as he has another heartbeat of this defense, you can just find him later in the first round of drafts. So, Unfazed, I appreciate you rolling through. Raider Mike Sacktown, ready to see Herbert go down early. We're going to talk about the Chargers 100%. We're going to step into that. And Larry Fleming, you're saying Nate Hobbs all day, and I think you and myself and Severe, we both agree. And so let's get into the tough news, right? Let's get into the tough news. We just found out yesterday that Malcolm Kuntz is not going to play against the Chargers, and it does sound like he's going to be placed on the IR, which is he's going to miss the first 4 games. I saw that. I don't know if that's official, but I did see that. I think it was one of the NFL insiders posted that Malcolm Kuntz is going to be put on the IR again, which means he's automatically going to miss the first 4 games. Severe, in your opinion, just kind of how does that affect, how does that hurt our defense? And then two, do you think who do you think is going to be the guy to step up to the plate and really take his position?
Man, I think this has a tremendous impact, right? Like we were all excited about what this team was going to be able to do because not only do you have Max Crosby, then we had the emergence of Malcolm Kuntz, but then you add a guy in the middle like Christian Wilkins. So these quarterbacks aren't going to be comfortable stepping up in the pocket anymore because then you have that guy in your face. But now you don't have that pressure coming from that other edge, and I think that his emergence at the end of the year directly correlated to our defense taking off and being one of the better units in the NFL. And I watched several games from Antonio Pierce's interim tenure last season, especially towards the back end of the year. And there were several instances where teams were sending doubles and they were sending chips Malcolm Kuntz's way and leaving Max one-on-one. That's how good he was. That's how dominant he had become. So, now that just takes that extra guy off of our defense. And as I said, he was in terms of the advanced analytics, he was a top 10 pass rusher over the back half of that season. So that is a big blow to our defense. The guy I'm looking to step up. I mean, we wanted to be
Just say his
Tyree.
name.
We wanted to be Tyree, but I don't know, man. I'm going to go. I think the move we made to put him on IR, I think that's going to opens up that other roster spot. I think we elevate Charles Snowden, and I think Janarius Robinson is he's possibly going to be the star, which is sad, right? If Janarius Robinson ends up being the starter at the other defensive at the right defensive end, if he ends up being that starter at right defensive end instead of Tyree Wilson, who we took top 10 last year, that would be just disgusting. I would be disgusted with that. So, but I think Janarius Robinson is going to be the biggest beneficiary, to be honest with
you. Yeah, no, I'm with you. I'll give you my take in a second, but Unfazed, I appreciate you coming through. And you said Kuhn's out the whole year. As it stands right now, he's just placed on IR. Yeah. That's all we know as it stands right now. And so, that does mean, to your point, it kind of opens up a roster spot. So we might bring on somebody. I haven't heard of us bringing on somebody, but we're less than 24 hours away. So I'm not sure if we'll see someone get elevated. I don't know what that time frame is. I don't know what the time frame is on when you can elevate someone to the 53 and they're still eligible to play. I don't know if you could still do that today and they're still eligible to play tomorrow. I'm not exactly sure. Chad, if you guys know, let us know, because I'm not exactly sure. And maybe Snowden is one of those guys that they do elevate, because Snowden, I believe, is on the practice squad, so they could bring him up right away. Look, here's my thing: is it's obviously extremely disappointing. With Malcolm Kuntz being out, he was going to be in just another stud, another heartbeat of this defense that was just going to terrorize any offense we go up against. And it's one of those things where you look across from left to right. Who do you block? Do you double Malcolm? Do you go double Max? Christian Wilkins? Even the big bodies like John Jenkins. John Jenkins is still a big body. You leave him one-on-one. You got Adam Butler that's going to rotate through, and Adam Butler's got a motor to him. And so you leave him. Obviously, out of those four, you're going to probably double Butler out of those four. Those running backs are going to step up in the hole and try to help out. I'm sorry, I take it back. The one guy that's probably going to get left alone is Adam Butler, right? Because you're going to double Max. You got to have multiple eyes on Christian Wilkins. But now if it is like a Tyree coming off the edge, based on what Tyree did last year, you don't necessarily have to worry about him. You're going to leave him one-on-one, and Tyree Wilson, it's time to step up. But unfortunately, I think I don't have high hopes for him stepping up. But I think it is Janarius Robinson that's going to get plenty of playing time. If he doesn't start, he's going to get plenty of playing time. He's going to rotate in. I wouldn't be surprised if we see it maybe 60-40, maybe even 50-50. If Tyree Wilson just does not perform, you could see 50-50. And if Janarius Robinson does start to produce and outshine Tyree Wilson, a number 7 overall pick, that's where do the trade talks really start to come out? Where you're going to try to move on and get as much as you can as soon as possible, because if Janarius Robinson starts to outshine Tyree Wilson, that's just going to be extremely disappointing. Loving that Janarius Robinson can produce.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Love to see that a guy like that can come in, because he's a big body.
Yeah.
I think he's like 6'7".
Yes.
I don't know what exact weight is, but he looks like he's at least 260.
Yeah.
He's a big enough body, and he's got a motor. He's very raw. He's not as athletic as you'd like him to be, but based on what I saw last year, I think he's going to be able to come out and produce. And so, me, like you said, press them likes, guys. I appreciate you. Make sure you guys hit that like button, and also whatever channel you're on, make sure you go to Severe's. My channel is Real Talk Raider Nation, depending on where you're watching from. Make sure you guys go to the channels and hit that subscribe button. Severe is always, on with a bunch of different content creators and always sharing some good opinions when it comes to our Raider Nation. And so, yes, and prayers go out to Malcolm Kuntz 100%. And we just talked about it. Sean Johnson, elevate Charles Snowden. Sam Webb, I think you got to elevate a defensive end, just because of how unsure we are about Tyree Wilson and how he can actually produce. Because as it stands right now, that's the rotation, right? It's Max Crosby, it's Tyree Wilson, and it's Janarius Robinson.
Yeah,
that's the biggest thing. And now, one question I have, and it's only because he played it his last year in college, is will we potentially see, if Amari Gaynor does not jump in and be able to get some playing time in the linebacker position? Because again, he's one of the last linebackers. He made this team as an undrafted free agent. He had a lot of success. I was glad to see he produced as much as he did in the preseason. But let's be real, it's against a lot of second, third stringers. So, I see him having a bigger role in special teams. But his last year in college at North Carolina, he played all year long at the edge position, coming off that edge as a rotational player. Do you see Amari Gaynor kind of stepping down and possibly coming off that edge in situational? I think it would be completely situational. But do you think they might have a chance and throw Amari Gaynor in off the edge?
It might be a situation where we're forced to, depending, we have our 53, but you're technically only able to, send, I want to say 48 on game day, and generally 49 if you have that emergency quarterback, which we don't have. So it could come down to a numbers game where, if that rotation on the other side, either if they're not producing or, if these guys are gassed, we already know that the Chargers' plan is to probably run the ball down our throats, and so if these guys are gassed, we got to pull one of these guys out. He may be forced to see some time at the defensive end, which is interesting. And we had talked about it before. There was in the preseason we saw a lot of 5-2-4. Patrick Graham, I think we were possibly the highest team in the league last year where we weren't in base coverage, right? We only had 2 linebackers on the field. I think we did that more than any other team. So we're either going to be in a big nickel, or we're going to be in like a 5-2-4 situation. And if we are in that, I can see a guy like Amari Gaynor, who has that the versatility to play both end and play linebacker. That would be valuable in a 5-2-4 system.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. And Sean Johnson, I appreciate you. So you're saying they confirmed they activated. I'll go back to your previous one, Charles Snowden and Sam Webb. So we did bring those guys up.
Yeah.
I appreciate you confirming for us. So what?
Say Sam Webb is interesting.
That is interesting, but it's because if you're, it was announced. I think Decamarion Richardson is actually he's out for this game. So we do need another corner. Unfazed and Raider Mike, we're gonna go through that. We're gonna go down. We're gonna get into this Chargers game, because again, we're less than 48 or 24 hours. We're gonna go through our key matchups, things that we're looking out for, things that we want to see coming up in this game. And so, with that being said, I mean, shoot, let's jump into this side. One big thing is I know that the Raider Nation is going to take over SoFi. I mean, Severe, I know you said you're going to the game. You're going to meet up with a bunch of the guys, the content creators. I think Pharaoh's going to be out there. Big Mike's going to be out there.
Yeah.
I just went to an event here in the Vegas area last night with a lot of the super fans. You got Power Raider, you got Hollywood D, you got a bunch of guys. They're flying out this morning. They're showing up, and SoFi is going to get blacked out. I heard the numbers are kind of getting more towards 70-30, where it's going to be about 70% Raider fans. I wouldn't be surprised if it's even more than that based on the amount of people I'm hearing they're going to show up to that game. And we all know it's our home away from home. And so Severe, before we get into the Chargers game, what's your plan for pregame and all that stuff? And if people are showing up, where can they find you before the game?
Yeah, man. So pregame, I know the crew is throwing a tailgate party in Pink Lot. I'm gonna be out there with Raider Syndicate. So Protect the Shields, Chris, got Leo, Rundown, Turf, Myra G, the whole crew. They're gonna be out there. So probably be out there pregame. Me and Pharaoh gonna link up. We're gonna probably do some vlogging, possibly some man on the street interviews. Maybe pull some Raider fans, pull some Charger fans. Maybe do some trivia, get some game predictions. Just have a good time, man. Get some content creation, and yes, SoFi is gonna be blacked out. That is our second home. But real quick, man, is there any events going on in Allegiant tomorrow?
No, not that I know of. I know that there's gonna be a watch party at the Whiskey that's right across the street. But that's about it. There's also another watch party on the north end, but nothing specifically at Allegiant, which I think it's a little unfortunate. I mean,
Yeah,
it would be nice if open up that stadium a little bit
and let the fans come in, man, and watch the game there, man. That would be awesome, man. I think that would be a great way to just build the fan base out there. Be a good event, bring Raider Nation together, especially in Vegas. That fan base out there is still in its infancy, so just to bring all those people together, build some synergy, especially against a game like that. Against a team like that, I think that would be awesome, man. I think that is a missed opportunity.
Yeah, no, a divisional game, a division rival. Everybody's pumped for this. The one thing I went to both open practices, and I'll tell you, as much as it's the fan base out here, it's here, but we're still trying to grow it. I'll tell you right now, it was open practice was lit. I mean, it was to the point where you finally saw the Raider fan base here in the Las Vegas area, and so it was exciting. It was exciting to see. And yeah, if you open up the stadium, I mean, we basically fold up the entire lower half of that stadium with Raider fans. And so you open that up, man. I agree. It's a hell of a way to kind of grow the fan base out here, and kind of see how many Raider fans are out here. And so, chat, let us know if any of you guys, or if you guys are going to the game, if you guys are rolling through, let us know if you're going to be there out at SoFi. Because yes, we are blacking out. I got a bunch of buddies from back home. I'm originally from the SoCal area, and I got about 5 close friends that are rolling through deep. I was supposed to go out there, but I'm also got a bunch of games that I'm going to be attending here, and so if I go to too many games, that means the wife might think it's an opening for a shopping spree or something. So yeah, so I gotta pace myself a little bit. But Hit Stick Stepper, man, I appreciate you rolling through. So let's get into this Chargers game. I'm telling you, less than 24 hours. I mean, I'm pumped. I'm stoked for it. I cannot wait for kickoff in less than 24 hours. I mean, this kicks off the AP era. You know what I'm saying? And there's so many reasons why the Raider fan base can be hyped for this. Not just because the AP era, but at the same time, there were so many people divided on whether or not they wanted Jim Harbaugh or AP. Yes. It was almost as bad as the Derek Carr conversations, the people that wanted Derek Carr versus are cool with us shipping him off. I mean, it was torn. And so AP's got to come out and kind of just silence a little bit, because if we do lose, I'm afraid that those Jim Harbaugh fans are going to kind of come out and be like, kind of give you those I told you so's. You know what I'm saying? And so that's huge. But
and the ignorant people as well.
That very true, 100%. And if we lose because of a Gardner Minshew mistake or something, that's going. This fan base is going to flip upside down. But let's focus on the offense first.
Yes.
You know, what are the keys to victory in your mind? What do you think the keys to victory are on the offensive side first? Go for it.
So on the offensive side, I mean, you're going to notice that there's going to be a little bit of a running theme here. I think the keys to victory on the offensive side are going to be our ability to run the ball. I think
Mm,
it is very important for us to establish the run. Especially we have generally offensive linemen, they prefer run blocking, right? Like that's their chance to get aggressive and go forward, and they're the ones on the attack. And I know that the Chargers, they have two very good players on the edge, and Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack, but
yeah.
they've been trying to find help up the middle for quite some time, and I know
That's
they
the
got.
soft point, right? That's the
Yeah.
soft spot in that
Yeah,
defense.
that is a soft spot. I know they got Denzel Perryman, who's very good against the run. Dan
Yep.
Henley, he's kind of a little bit. That's a guy I liked when he was coming
Uh,
out, but
that's
but
a guy
but
I wanted us to draft him.
I liked him too. But
Yeah,
he's on the smaller side,
he
and
is.
so I think if we can get to the second level and really get some bodies on him, I think that is going to be big. And, like I said, the Chargers have been looking for a while for a true presence in the middle at defensive tackle. That they tried Jerry Tillery, they tried a few people, and I don't think I don't think they're really strong on the interior yet. So I think that can be an area of their defense that we can take advantage of.
Yeah. So for me, and chat, let us know, what are you looking out for the offensive side? What do you want to see us do on the offensive side to really capitalize and potentially pull out a win? I'm with you. We got to establish a running game, right? We didn't invest in a quarterback. We didn't bring in some high paid quarterback. And so we let Josh Jacobs walk, whether you agreed to it or not. We let Josh Jacobs walk, and we feel like Zamir White is that guy. We didn't bring in another high paid running back. And so I want to see us. I want to see us establish a run game. I think there's a couple things, and maybe we'll go back and forth a little bit. But one of the biggest things is the run game. But two, we got to get Trey Tucker involved with the deep ball. I want to see us take 3-4 shots downfield, at least 3-4 shots. And even if we don't complete it, it just shows that we're going to attempt it. It shows that we are going to press this ball downfield. Now, I'd love to complete one or two of them. You know what I'm saying? If we can complete one or two, if you can imagine us, we're sitting on our own 30, we complete a 45, yard pass down, bomb downfield, and now it automatically puts us in field goal range. Those are those momentum swings that you want to see on the offensive side. And so I want to see us take deep shots. Gardner Minshew, he's going to take his risks. You know what I'm saying? He's gonna. Hopefully they're calculated risks, but he's gonna take those shots. But I want to see us try to hit Trey Tucker downfield, even if DJ Turner comes in. But try to hit that deep ball 3-4 times. Just threaten that deep ball, extend that field, make those safeties instead of them feeling comfortable lining up at 12 to 15 yards. I want them at 15 to 17 yards. You know what I'm saying? Because we have nothing but really good possession receivers between Devonta Adams, Jacoby Myers, Brock Bowers, Michael Mayer, and then we're going to open up a little bit, get those running backs into the flats and stuff like that. And Luke Getsy likes to run a lot of screens, so that's going to open up the screen game if you pull those safeties deep. You know what I'm saying? And so I want to see us definitely hit the deep ball a couple times and open up those 30-yard and under pass routes. What are your thoughts? Now, you talked about the offense. You're talking about getting that running game going. What are your thoughts on the offensive line? How do you think they're going to do tomorrow against this Chargers front four? Again, we talked about a little bit of a soft spot in the middle. Their edge rushers between Bosa and Mack, they're still top tier edge rushers. They're going to be coming. What are your thoughts on the offensive line going into tomorrow's game?
I think that is a little bit of a concern, maybe a major concern. We saw what Mac did against us last year. Colton Miller is just now getting back. So he basically missed damn near all of the offseason program. We have Whitehair starting in front of Jackson Powers Johnson because he's missed most of the offseason program as well, and then he was out this last bit of practice with an illness. Then we got on the other side, we got Dylan Parham moving back over to the right side. And then we got, Thayer Munford over there at right tackle. So Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be. I think it's a little bit of concern, especially since there really hasn't been a whole lot of continuity with this particular unit. And it's well documented how you feel about Cody Whitehair, so we don't have to get into that too much.
Very well documented.
Everybody knows how you feel
I
about
think we're
Cody
in
Whitehair,
trouble.
so I think that is something to look out for. Right now, I know Joey Bosa. I want to say he has like a cast on one of his hands right now, so that may limit him a little bit. But even with that, he's still one of the better edges in the league, and we're catching the Chargers early. Usually, what slows him down is injuries. He should be very fresh because it's the first game of the season.
Yeah, I'm with you. And then Pitstick, a stepper, he says keys to victory is ball control time of possession with a dose of heavy run, short passing game. And I agree. Yes, 100% time of possession is going to be huge because I think that our defense is what could potentially win us this ball game. You got to give them that rest. Right? That was one of the things that I hated about Josh McDaniel's offense is that we just could not sustain drives. It was 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out. And all of a sudden, here comes our defense back on the field. And when you get in that fourth quarter and you're gassed, it's tough. And then, one of the things for myself are Steve Jones. Have they announced the captains yet? I think they're actually announcing them today, but I haven't heard whether or not they've announced them just yet. But I think that they are going to announce them today. One of the things that I'm going to be definitely looking out for on the offensive side is, this is the very first game of the season. I think it's kind of the overall consensus is that Jim Harbaugh is going to want to run the ball, right? So we kind of understand that with the offense. It's going to be kind of interesting to see what the defense does. But it's the very first game. So both teams don't truly know what each other's strategy is going into this game. I want to know how Luke Getsy adjusts in the game. I want to see his in-game adjustments because that's going to be huge, whether it's going in kind of into the second quarter or even the halftime adjustments. How does he adjust to what the Chargers defense wants to do? And that's what I'm going to be looking forward to because there's still the consensus is kind of out on Luke Getsy. Is he a good offensive coordinator? I like what I saw with him in Chicago. Again, I know I've said it multiple times with both of us on here, but I think it was more of a Justin Fields issue than necessarily Luke Getsy, but that still remains to be seen. He still has a lot to prove. And so I want to see the in-game adjustments. How does he adjust going into it?
No, agreed. And especially against a guy like Jesse Minter, right? Jesse Minter is a guy that we saw him last year, and it was in college. But he's a guy that he likes to do a lot of disguising. He likes to act like he's bringing pressure and drop out of it. He sometimes he brings some exotic bliss. So I think being able to adjust to that is going to be key, especially for a guy. I think that could be part of the calculation to having a guy like Gardner Minshew out there who has seen this before in the NFL, right? He's had to deal with these kind of these guys that are playing these crazy coverages or throwing these weird fronts at you. I think another thing is Denzel Perryman, right? Like we have two of the better pass catching tight ends we assume in the league. And we know that Denzel Perryman is a guy that struggles against the pass. So Brock Bowers or Michael Mayer could be in for a big game, especially if they get some one-on-ones against Denzel Perryman.
Yeah, I'm with you. And Daniel Kim, I'll reach out to you. Honestly, I don't know. I don't even know what mods do, to be dead honest with you. I'm new to this, but I'll hit you up and I'll definitely ask you some questions. Let me know what your IG is and I'll hit you up.
Dan Kim's gonna be at the game too, man. How about it?
Oh, nice, sweet. I know there are some doppelganger. You're saying ball protection, spreading the ball around the offense, consistent pressure from the defense. We're going to get into the defensive side as well. But yes, ball protection, absolutely. And you don't get one dimensional. You don't or keep the defense guessing. You definitely want to spread that ball around. I 100% agree. And again, salute to everybody in the chat. Jake Long, I appreciate you coming through. Doppelganger, we just hit you up. Daniel Kim, Billy Davis, I appreciate you, man, coming through. Again, guys, just a reminder, go to Severe's page, The Severe Raider. If you're going through Severe's channel right now, I'm at Real Talk Raider Nation. Go hit those subscribe buttons. And at the very least, if you can, hit that like button. We definitely appreciate it. One of my biggest things I want to see on the offense is I want to see Gardner Minshew use his legs a little bit. That was the biggest deciding factor in my opinion as to why we chose to go with Gardner Minshew. I think one, he's the veteran, right? But two, it allows Luke Getsy to open up that playbook a little bit because Gardner Minshew can move. But one of the things that's the most deflating thing to a defense is if it's 3rd and 3, 3rd and 4, you drop back to pass, Gardner Minshew moves around a little bit, and then bang, he gets that first down with his legs. I mean, Patrick Mahomes is one of the best at it in this league, and it's just like body blows as a boxer, right? I mean, it's just you can wear a defense down, you can frustrate the hell out of a defense when they got everybody covered downfield, and all of a sudden the quarterback scrambles out and gets the first down with his legs. Yeah. I want to see him do that 2, maybe 3 times because everybody knows in this league that Gardner Minshew can run. Everybody knows that he can move his legs a little bit, but it also sends a message to all the teams that we face in the coming weeks that Gardner Minshew can move. It reminds them that defenses, you better prepare. If you're going to scheme for us next week, if you're going to scheme for us a couple weeks from now, you're going to go back and watch film, and you're going to see Gardner Minshew use his legs. That means that those defensive coordinators, they're going to adjust their scheme a little bit. They may not send pressure on 3rd and 3 as much. You know what I'm saying? They might stand back a little bit and know that Gardner Minshew might hurt him a little bit with his legs. So I want to see Gardner Minshew use his legs a little bit, get some of those 3rd and 3s, maybe 3rd and 4s, convert those 4th downs with his legs. And so that's definitely kind of what I'm looking for and what I want to see. Any matchups specifically, any matchups that you're looking for going in, for example, whether it be, an offensive tackle versus one of the edge rushers, or, one of the receivers versus the, versus a corner or a defensive back, any specific matchups on the offense, personnel wise, that you're looking for. And chat, real quick, if you do have a question for one of us, type in #Raiders and then let me know. It lets me see it a little bit easier. So let me know. But yeah, Severe, any personnel matchups you're looking for on the offensive side?
Yeah, man. I think the low hanging fruit will be to go to Khalil or go to whoever's matched up against Thayer. I think that's kind of low hanging fruit. But I'm gonna go with Brock Bowers. I don't know what they're gonna do, how they're gonna defend him. I don't know if it's gonna be, hey, Derwin James, this is your guy, you stick him. But Brock Bowers is a weapon, and he's a guy that he can line up in line, he can line up in the slot, he can line him up out wide, he can play a little bit out of the backfield. So I'm interested to see how the Chargers choose to defend him, and he can be a guy that can be key in this game because of that versatility, and because we're going to play so much 12 personnel, can be him and Michael Mayer on the field at the same time. I think he'll be able to take advantage of some of those matchups.
Yeah, and the biggest thing for me, and it's only because we didn't necessarily we took Brock Bowers over a potential instant starter at the tackle position. I want to see how Thayer Munford does. I want to see just how he does specifically, because we bypassed a plethora of good right tackles, whether it be that Talisi Fuagas, whether it be who's the kid from Alabama?
I think he went before, but I know you're talking about. Dang. Is it JT? J something?
Was it JC
Latham?
JC Latham.
Yeah.
No, but we basically we didn't go after a first round.
I think Guyton. I think he's
Guyton. Yeah.
He's a starter. I want to say he's starting for the Cowboys, I believe. So yeah, it's a few guys.
So I want to see how Thayer Munford does. Yeah. Brock Bowers unexpectedly dropped to us, and so they pulled the trigger, and that's all fine and well. But I want to see how Thayer Munford does. It's unfortunate that Jackson Powers Johnson is going to be playing this game, and I want to see. I want Cody Whitehair to prove me wrong. That's what I want. I want Cody Whitehair to prove me wrong, that he's going to step up and be at least a decent fill-in guy. Again, I'm not looking for him to dominate. I think he's well past his Pro Bowl days from like 5 years ago or something like that. But I want him to prove me wrong, and so that's my biggest concern. Are basically those two positions, and so those are the biggest matchups that I'm I'm looking forward to.
Yeah.
Now let's go ahead. Let's jump into the offense or the defensive side. All right. Defensive side. What are your keys to victory? What do you think has to happen on the defensive side in order for us to come out with a victory?
Yeah. This is gonna be a low hanging fruit too. I did forget to mention on offense, just not turn the ball over. I think that's always a key, especially when Gardner Minshew under center. But stop the run, man. Stop the run. We know what Jim Harbaugh wants to do. We know what he likes to do. He did it at San Diego State. He did it at Stanford. He did it with the 49ers. He did it with the Michigan Wolverines. And he's going to try to do it with the Chargers as well. He's going to try to run the ball. That's why you draft a guy like Joe Alt instead of, the plethora of receiving weapons, including Brock Bowers, that have failed to him, even after he let go of a guy like Keenan Allen and let go of a guy like Austin Eckler. Instead of getting a receiving option in the first round, they went for a guy like Joe Alt. They do that to run the ball. So I think we have to stop the run. I think that's first and foremost. Us stopping the run, that gives us the opportunity to kind of pin our ears back and rush the passer. I think that's when Max Crosby is at his best. I think that's when Christian Wilkins is at his best. And we have struggled under Patrick Graham. Last year I want to say we were ranked 21st against the run in preseason, and no, it is just preseason. I think we were giving up like 130 yards a game on the ground, and some of that was with starters on the field. So, and it's well documented. Patrick Graham has not done that great against Greg Roman. He mentioned it himself. So I think the key for him getting his first victory against Greg Roman is for us to stop the run. And then that allows Max Crosby to do what Max Crosby does. And as kicking the door is his famous celebration.
100%. And again, shout out to everybody else coming into the chat. Los Angeles Raider, what's going on, brother? Appreciate you coming through. Let me know, as I know you in SoCal, you're one of the boys from back home. Let me know, are you showing up to the game at all? And then Dirk Zink, appreciate you coming through. The NFL football is fake and scripted. I'm telling you right now, man, like that is a whole nother show. All right. I don't know if I want to open up that book.
Our boy Isaiah Likely. I think that was
oh man, he just needs to get a smaller shoe. That's what he needs. Look, I don't want to derail at all, but I'll tell you right now, man, some of those calls against in that Chiefs game, I'm just sitting there going, you're starting out the season.
Yeah, man.
I think just screwing anybody that plays against the Chiefs. I mean, you were I don't want to get
too illegal formation calls. That's another thing to look out for, man. These illegal formation calls. I mean, I saw it a lot in that Chiefs game. I didn't see it a lot in other games, but they called it quite a few times in that Chiefs game. So I'm interested to see how close they call it in this game as well.
Did you see that holding call on the Ravens center?
Oh yeah.
There's which wasn't a hold at all, and it basically negated like a 30+ yard play. I mean, goddamn Chiefs. Space Beast, man, I appreciate you checking in. I appreciate you coming through. Always rolling through. So here's my thing, and when it comes to the defense, and I'm with you, you gotta stop the run because that's the easiest thing to do on the offensive side is run the ball, get yards, you get ahead of the sticks. So it makes life easy for you, especially when you have a guy like Justin Herbert, right? I'm going to kind of go the opposite. And as much as I agree with you, got to stop the run. But I think it is more important because of the matchups, right? We got to shut down this passing game. They have across the board nothing but number 2 receivers. You got Joshua Palmer. DJ Chark is not playing this game. He was ruled out, and so Ladd McConkey, he's a rookie. You got what's his name? Hayden, the tight end.
Oh, Hayden Hurst,
the tight end. I mean, I don't see anybody electric that Justin Herbert, as good as he is, I don't see anybody electric that he can throw to.
Yeah.
And if we allow him to kind of march downfield, if we allow him to pick us apart, I'm worried. I mean, I understand that the Chargers are going to want to run after us, right? They picked up Joe Alt in the first round, touted as one of the best rookies to come out of the draft, touted to be a future damn good tackle, and they moved him to the right side. We'll see how he transitioned because he was a left tackle, in college. Rashawn Slater's a stud.
Yes.
And so, they have a good offensive line. I do hope that we can stop the run, but it's going to be a battle.
Yeah.
I think Jim Harbaugh, I think they basically assigned one of their offensive tackles to a fullback position.
Yes.
Something crazy. Yeah. I mean, so they're going to have basically like a 285, 290 pound fullback
Matlock
coming after us. And so they're going to want to establish a run in, and it's going to be a battle, so we got to stop it. But the thing to me is we're going to be facing a bunch of number twos, and we got Jack Jones that has to prove he can be a true number one corner, right? You got Jacorian Bennett that it's the verdict is still out on him. He's got to make sure that he can produce as a number two. But I think one of the stronger points outside of our edge rushers is the safety position. The safety position between Trayvon Morgan and Marcus Epps. I mean, these guys need a ball. I think they are going to ball. I think they're going to be one of the strong points on this team. But we have to lock down this receiver core. There would be no excuses why Justin Herbert throws for 275 plus
at all,
in my opinion.
Yeah.
I mean, and you can't even blame it on potential linebackers because Hayden Hurst, I don't even know if you can consider him a number two tight end at this point. I mean,
yeah, he's had some down years. He was good. I mean, I really liked him when he was in Baltimore. Then I know he spent some time with the Falcons
yeah,
kind of fell off the map. So he's got ass talent. I mean, Joshua, well, not Joshua Johnson, that's the quarterback. Quentin Johnson is the guy. He has talent. He just can't catch the ball to save his life. I think I said on our last live, he couldn't catch malaria in the rainforest. He can't hold on to the ball, man. So, but he has a whole bunch of talent, and he does have size for his position. So, that's one guy. Maybe if he steps up, that could be maybe the guy that can give us some issues. But I'm right there with you, though.
Yeah, because I mean, even with Hayden Hurst, right? With Robert Spillane and what he showed last year with him getting his interceptions and stuff. So he's going to be able to help out in that passing game. But Divine Diablo, I mean, he's one guy that's got to step up because he's a converted safety, right? Playing linebacker. We got to see just his ability to step up and shut down that run. But at the end of the day, again, their weakest point in this offense is their passing game. And so we got to make sure we shut that down and make them one-dimensional. And that's the best part, right? If you can shut down one part of this offense and force them to be one-dimensional, that means that's going to allow our front four just to pin their ears back and go. It's going to allow those linebackers to step up in those gaps just a little bit sooner because they don't have to worry about getting those drops and getting in that pass coverage because we know we're kind of shutting that down on the back end. I would love to see us be able to, as much as like you were mentioning before, we like to run that 4-2-5, right? One of the best things that we can do is come out, know that we can lock these guys up man to man. And if we can lock them up man to man and play more man to man coverage, that means that Robert Spillane, Divine Diablo, they're locked up on running backs at that point. So now they can step up and they can be more aggressive to the run and knowing that they don't got to drop to a zone as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
Where Justin Herbert's going to kind of pick us apart sitting behind them. And so I definitely want to see us to be able to shut down this passing game, lock these receivers up, because again, nothing but number two receivers across the board. That was the one guy outside of Joshua Palmer. That was the one guy that to me, I was a little concerned about only because of what he's done in the past a little bit is DJ Chark. He's a tall, lengthy, fast receiver that Justin Herbert can kind of play those 50-50 balls a little bit with him.
Yeah.
And if you play your matchups right, you put him on a guy like Jacorian Bennett. And just like I was saying about Trey Tucker and us taking those deep shots downfield and those momentum swings, that could be an easy just 50-yarder downfield to DJ Chark, and he wins that 50-50 ball. And now they're winning the field position battle, and it's just a momentum swing. And so that's my biggest thing. That's one of the biggest things when it comes to the defensive side. I want to see us, like without question, shut down this receiver core, across the board. What are your thoughts what are your thoughts on the kind of the linebacker position? All right, because one of the keys that I'm going to be watching out for, and we just talked about kind of what we need to do when it comes to keys to victory. But what are your thoughts on the linebacker position? Obviously, Divine Diablo, Robert Spillane's going to be coming out there. But if we do send out a third linebacker, who do you think that third linebacker is actually going to be? You got Masterson, which I believe had a horrible preseason. We kept Kanai Mauga on the roster. I think it totaled of seven linebackers. If we bring another linebacker on, who do you think is going to be that third linebacker to actually touch the field?
Honestly, I think the coaching staff, they trust Masterson for whatever reason. I think everybody who's watching, me personally as well, and I would love for it to be Amari Gaynor. I think he has become a fan favorite, but honestly, in the real world, I think the guy that they would bring on, the guy that they trust the most, will be Masterson. So especially he's been in the defense the entire time. I think he probably knows it better than anybody else. So I think that would be the guy who gets the nod. But yeah, I'm expecting big things from Divine Diablo. Antonio Pierce talked about it the other day. How much he's grown in the time since Antonio Pierce has been here. I think early in the offseason, when they asked Marvin Lewis, who was some breakout players, who were some guys he was impressed with, and one of the guys he mentioned immediately was Divine Diablo, and this is the guy that's been around the game a long time, since linebackers were wearing neck rolls, the type. So for him to be impressed with Divine Diablo, who's considered more of a coverage type of linebacker, more of that athlete at the linebacker position, I think that kind of shows the progression he's made, just understanding the difference between. I know you made a little bit of opposite transition, but he's making the transition from safety to linebacker. So it's a little bit of a different world right there. I know AP talked about when AP became a linebackers coach, Divine was asking him about backpedals, and AP's like, "Oh, you're a linebacker, you don't backpedal, you come forward, right? You go forward, And he was saying he's starting to move like a linebacker, starting to think like a linebacker and see the game like a linebacker. So I'm expecting some big things for Divine Diablo. Just health permitted. That's the biggest thing was him. Health permitted.
Yeah, no, and that's going to be the fun part to kind of watch is how these linebackers develop, because we're touted to be a potentially top 5 defense.
Yeah,
I think it's without question we're entering the season as a top 10 defense.
Yeah,
but correct me if I'm wrong or if you have a different take on it, but I do think what's going to be that difference maker for us is how well that number 2 corner plays and how well that number 2 linebacker plays. I mean, if Jacorian Bennett can come out and be a good solid number 2 corner, and if Divine Diablo can now be a solid piece next to Robert Spillane, that's the difference. I think our D-line is going to be the heart of this defense. Even with Malcolm Kuntz out, as much as it hurts, I think throw a little rotational piece in there. We already kind of covered and talked about Tyree Wilson, but I think Janarius Robinson, when he comes in, I think he can kind of help produce and kind of be a force off that edge to, again, he doesn't necessarily have to make the sack, but if he can just force that quarterback to kind of stay in the pocket, don't allow that escape route his way, and now allow Max Crosby to finish, or Christian Wilkins to finish up the middle. I think that's going to be the difference between a top 5 defense and top 10 defense is how well does Jacorian Bennett, that second corner, play, and how well does that second linebacker, as of right now, Divine Diablo, how well does he play? Because that'll definitely be kind of the difference between the two. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Alex M., you're rolling through. LA Raider, you are, yes, it's supposed to be hot as hell. Severe, you said your young kid's football game was canceled because of the heat. I mean, that means it's hot. We talked about this offline a little bit. I played a lot of football, youth football. I coached youth football in Southern California for many years, and never did our games get canceled. So that means that it's getting a little hot in that area to cancel, youth football games or just football games in general. And so, I mean, it got so hot. I remember just a quick little story. I remember I played at Citrus College in the LA area. and it got so hot that during warm-ups, I don't know if the young kids do anymore. I stopped coaching football about 5 years ago, so I don't know if the young kids do anymore. I'm sure they got ways of doing it. But I used to spat up, right? You tape your
Oh
cleats.
yeah.
I don't know if young kids do that anymore. Do they still do it, or do they got
Not
like some way of like showing it off nowadays?
yeah. They still some kids do it. So some kids don't. Some kids do it. Some kids don't.
That was kind of like that was part of my pregame ritual.
Yeah,
Like that was a part of my routine where I'd
it's part
spat
of the
up.
swag. That's part of the swag,
Oh,
man. You
I
know?
had to tape it up, but it got so bad. It got so hot one time at Citrus College. We're warming up, and your feet are on fire. You're not
Yeah,
drinking the. You're actually spraying the water on your feet. And I went to go look down underneath my cleats, and all the tape was melted.
it's
I,
crazy.
I started to see the tape start to peel off from underneath. I was like, wait a second, no, that's not supposed to happen. I look under, completely melted because we were on the field turf with the rubber pellets. You know
Yeah,
how it is. So even then, we still played.
yeah,
But now all of a sudden they're canceling games.
yeah,
So yeah, man. But I think a lot of people, in the chat, I think they're saying we're gonna be ready to play. We're gonna
yeah,
be ready to play, and we're gonna be ready to come and ball out. I do think AP's got this team ready. I think that this AP team is ready to kind of corral around him. You know, I think that's one of the things. I know I didn't put this in one of the topics of discussion, but you know, I think one of the things, and it's kind of becoming a trend now, is having a player's coach, right? A coach that's played the game, that understands what these guys are going through. Some of the video at the end of training camp where they went to the beach.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? They went to the beach and they just had fun with it. It was their time to be able to just kind of let things down and just kind of have that camaraderie. Have that trust within each other, because that's one of the biggest things in football, and it's one of the things that I think is very underappreciated, is the chemistry that you have to have amongst your teammates.
yeah,
I mainly played on the defensive side of the ball, but the thing was for me is that if I could trust the guy next to me that he's going to do his job, that allowed me to be even more free to play the way I wanted to,
yeah,
knowing that he's going to do his job.
yeah,
And that's one of the biggest things. And you only gain that not just through practice, but you gain it also through those kind of off the practice field, that off the
yeah,
practice field time.
yeah.
And so,
Bonding time.
how much do you think? And I know people are talking about in the chat. How much do you think AP, being a player's coach, playing at such a high level, understanding what these players go through, how much do you think that's going to benefit us kind of going into this season?
I think that greatly benefits us, right? And he's a guy that has been around some great minds, some great football minds. Uh, just in his time as a player under Schottenheimer, right? Who I think most Raider fans absolutely despise from his time as the coach of the Chargers. But he's a guy that was a very hard nosed coach. Very very intelligent football coach. He under Steve Spagnuolo, under Tom Coughlin, under he worked with Marvin Lewis, worked with Herm Edwards. So he's been around some guys as well as playing at a very high level himself. And it's interesting that you brought up what you brought up in terms of that trust factor, because one of the things he said in an interview recently was that he was telling his guys, like, look, right now we're not out there to make plays, right? Everybody just do your job. Just do your job right now. That's what we're concerned with. We can worry about trying to make plays at a different time. Right now, your only focus should be to do your job. And once get locked in and you're comfortable doing your job, that's when you can kind of freelance and freestyle outside of that. But right now, that's the main focus, is you're doing your job. And I think him like knowing that mindset of what a player is thinking, that week one game, knowing how to press their buttons, I think that is a huge benefit to us.
Yeah, man, I 100% agree. And then we're gonna do this. Chat, let me know what's your prediction. Give us your score prediction for the game tomorrow. And Severe, I'm not gonna ask you. I don't like doing score predictions. You kind of never know. I do think that it's gonna be kind of a low scoring game, just because of what Harbaugh is probably gonna try to do, and I think we're gonna lean on the run game. And so I think the clock's gonna kind of go down. The clock's gonna run. I do think that it's going to be kind of a low scoring game. But I kind of shot you this topic a little bit earlier, but let's kind of get into it. Actually, you know what? Before we do that, for everybody that's in the chat, if they didn't catch it before, Severe, you're going to be at the game tomorrow. You're going to be hanging out. There's going to be a bunch of people, a bunch of content creators and stuff. Let the people that have just showed up, let them know kind of what you're up to tomorrow and where you're going to be at the game tomorrow.
Yeah, man, I'm gonna be all over SoFi. Now, and for the most part, I want to be in Pink Lot. The crew, they're throwing a tailgate party out there. The Raider Syndicate is gonna be out there. Chris from Protect the Shield, Raider Rundown, Turf, Leo, Myra G. It's gonna be some other people out there as well. So, me and Pharaoh, me and my guy Pharaoh, who's another Raider content creator, we're both gonna be there. Doing some interviews, interacting with the fans, doing some vlogging, just making some content out there, having a good time, man. So anybody wants to holler at us, man, or hang out with us, you can hit me on my social media. That's at the Severe Raider, pretty much everywhere: IG, Twitter, Snapchat, or right here on YouTube. Hop in the comment section of one of these videos and say, hey, you know what? Hey, I want to see you out there. Just let us know, man. We're all cool people, man. We're all cool people.
No, you guys definitely are. I'm excited again. Wish I could be there, man. It'd be awesome.
That'll be awesome.
Awesome. My 2 cents, man. I appreciate you rolling through. And I'll tell you right now, 2 Cent Peanut Gallery. This guy. I've been reading some of your comments, man. Get the hell out of here, man. You coming at us with Charger stuff. Come on now. I love the battle.
Oh, yeah,
we're always down for a battle.
Oh yeah, for sure. They remember what we did to him last year.
Oh yeah,
what we did to him last year. So
and he's coming forward too.
Still stings.
Let's do this. All right, man. Because I know you're meeting up with some of the guys tonight, right? So
yeah.
Let's do this. Not sure if you had a little bit of time to think about it,
I got time and I'm good.
Bold prediction for tomorrow. All right. What's your bold prediction for tomorrow? What do you think is going to happen that maybe not a lot of people are think is going to happen? Whether it be Gardner Minshew throws for 400 yards, whatever it may be. Kind of what's your bold prediction for tomorrow against the Chargers?
So I got a few bold predictions because I think my first bold prediction, I was kind of going back and forth between who I said it would be, because first I said Diablo, then I said maybe Nate Hobbs, and I think I settled in on Diablo. I said the first sack of the season would not go to Max. I think the first sack of the season is going to go to Divine Diablo. I almost said Nate Hobbs. I wanted to say Nate Hobbs, but I'm going with Divine Diablo. And I do think people say it's going to be a low scoring game. I think we put up 28 or more in the game. I do think we put up 28 or more in the game. So, I guess those are my 2 bold predictions right there.
2 bold predictions. Chat, let us know. Let us know if you have a bold prediction. My 2 cents already came out with it. He says Zeus gets 2 touchdowns.
I love it. I would love touchdowns.
Hey, you can't complain about that. You know what I'm saying? I think that it's going to be, a run heavy game. I think here's my bold prediction. All right. And again, we're talking bold. My bold prediction is I think we hold this Chargers offense to under 9 points.
Nice.
Again, I want to shut down the run, and I don't think this receiver core is very good at all. It's a bunch of number 2 receivers. I just don't see if we can stop the run. I still think Herbert's a good quarterback. Don't get me wrong. I think he's a good quarterback. I think if he's got, again, a good head coach that can kind of put some pieces around him when it comes to a coaching staff, I think he's a good quarterback, but he's got no one to throw to. And if our secondary can produce and shut this receiver core down, I think it's who does he throw to? And I think that we can hold this team to basically, I'd say 9 points and under. Let's put that. I'll give them a few field goals. Yeah. All right. But I think 9 points and under. That's my bold prediction. Mm-hmm. All right. And if we can hold this team to 9 points or under, we better come away with this win.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And so that's kind of my bold prediction is I want to see us. I want to see this defense just come out and be the heart of this team. Everybody knows that we're going to rely on this defense. This is where we're going to be able to find the momentum in every single game is just 3-and-out, 3-and-out, 3-and-out. And I want to see them come fired up. And so I'm excited. I'm stoked. I'm stoked for it all, 100%. So, but again, that's kind of our full breakdown, man. We talked about Malcolm Kuntz. We hope he gets better. Yes, he's put on the IR. Shout out to I forget who it was. Someone in the chat, they let us know that Snowden and Sam Webb, they got elevated because DC Richardson isn't going to be he was out this game, so he's not going to be playing. But I love it. A lot of people, you got 24-14, a lot of people. Space Beast. Hey, all gas, no brakes, 42-14. I love it. Bold prediction.
Hey, AP not taking his foot off the gas either. AP is not taking his foot off the gas. He will run up the score. Ooh, Jacoby gets the TV.
100%. I'm telling you right now, I do think, AP just keeps going. And you don't, especially against game 1, week 1, against a division rival, you don't step off the gas.
Oh, you send a message.
You send a message to the entire league, especially against a Chargers team. You know what I'm saying? A Chargers team that, again, we're not saying that they're going to be, an amazing team or they're not projected to be this, powerhouse whatsoever. But if you can send that message, because I'll tell you right now, this is what's hard, is we're going into a week 2 matchup against the Ravens that are now pissed off.
And well rested.
And they got 3 extra days to prep for us. You know what I'm saying? Like, you never want to look past the team. You know what I'm saying? But the thing is that you definitely want to set the tone. You definitely want to send a message to the rest of the league and whoever else we're going to be playing, the team that we're going to be playing next, you definitely want to send a message. So that's everything, man. I think we covered it all. We covered our keys to victory. We covered the matchups that we're looking for. Chat, again, I appreciate you guys rolling through. We went over an hour. I think all of us are stoked. We're excited. We're less than 24 hours away. The entire Raider fan base is going to roll through SoFi. I mean, we're going to black that place out. It's going to be intense. Again, I wish I can go, but Severe, you're going to be there with a bunch of other content creators, which is going to be awesome. I'm excited to see everybody roll through to that. Any last words as we get out of here, Severe? Any last words? Anything else you want to say to kind of send us off?
Yeah, man. I just want to say that I'm looking forward to the game. I'm looking forward to see what our special teams does with this new kickoff rule. I know we saw a little bit of it in preseason, but I don't think anybody really showed their hand. We have a pretty good special teams coordinator. He was very excited about this rule, so I'm expecting some returns in the return game. Something we kind of struggled with in previous years, especially last year. We moved on from DeAndre Carter. I'm looking to see what our interior defensive line does. I know Trey Pipkins moved from right tackle to I believe he's at right guard right now. So he's going to be dealing with some guys he's not used to dealing with. Christian Wilkins, John Jenkins. Interested to see what happens there. And then Ramel Keaton. How much play time does Ramel Keaton get? He's a rookie, first game, but he is a big body. He is a guy that is a target in the red zone. But red zone, I'm assuming we're going to go with a lot of 12 personnel. But does Ramel Keaton get some run? I'm interested in that. But other than that, man, I'm just looking forward to the game, man. Just looking forward to the game. Hopefully, we get our first W under our belt. I know the Josh McDaniels regime did not get off to a good start. I think that proved disastrous for him, and kind of and with the fan base as well. He didn't build that equity. So if AP can get off to a fast start, I think we can build some momentum because it's going to be tough doing that early game on the East Coast, and that we always struggle in those matchups, especially against the Ravens team that's going to be looking to run the ball a lot more because they struggle running the ball week 1. So I think we got to get this win under our belt.
Got to get this win because we head East Coast to the Ravens, and that is not going to be an easy matchup for all the things that we just kind of stated a couple of minutes ago. So I appreciate you, man. I hope you have a great time at the game. I hope you link up with all those guys, man. It's gonna be a hell of a time. And everybody in this chat, I appreciate you guys rolling through. Everybody's saying we're going 1-0. You bet your ass we better, because I'm telling you right now, this Raider fan base is going to go nuts. So
Yes.
I appreciate you guys. Make sure before you exit, hit that like button. Wherever you're watching, go to Real Talk Raider Nation. That's my channel, The Severe Raider. Go over to him. Make sure that you guys go subscribe. We're going to hit you guys with a bunch of content throughout the entire season. So make sure you guys check in and stay tuned. So again, chat, I appreciate you guys, and we'll see you guys on the next one. We're out.